If you own a boat, you have projects to do. How do you keep the steps all straight? I have a few solutions for you. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast, your podcast source for all things cruising, questions, advice, and inspiration. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by SeaTech Systems. SeaTech offers cruiser-tested solutions for weather, navigation, and communications. SeaTech solutions include satellite internet, Wi-Fi, cellular, and single sideband. What's more, SeaTech offers DIY electronics consulting with custom wiring diagrams and professional advice for your electronics DIY installation and integration projects. Visit sea-tech.com, that's sea-tech.com for more information. As a bonus, Boat Galley Podcast listeners get free shipping from SeaTech with the code GALLEY2019 at checkout. We've owned our boat since 1992. And what we have come to realize, particularly as we're in the process of doing this current refit, is that anything you put on the boat, you're eventually going to have to take off. So keep this in mind as you're putting things onto the boat and you're installing things, because even things you think are going to be on there forever, chances are good they probably won't. Sometimes figuring out exactly what you have to do to replace a boat part can feel a little bit overwhelming. It can feel daunting. And so I just want to help you understand that really it comes down to 5 basic steps. There are only 5 basic steps to replacing any part on your boat. Ready? All you have to do first? Well, maybe it's kind of 6. Let's see where we go with this one. So the first thing you want to do is come up with a replacement part. This is a little tough because if you have a replacement part that really you need to actually take the old one out for and walk into a store with it, then you're going to have to take that into account. But hopefully you're going to be able to look, figure out what part you need, and order it so that the new one is on hand before you start this whole process. Otherwise, hopefully you live a little bit close to your boat and a little bit close to the store, because it can take some time going back and forth to get exactly what you need. Anyway, the steps to any boat part replacement project. First thing you want to do is you want to remove the old part. You do have to be careful about this. There might be some old sealant that's particularly tenacious, maybe on the fiberglass, maybe on the gel coat. Maybe it's stuck to some other part of the boat that you need to just be really careful with how you take it off. Sometimes the removal can make the next part of the project not have anything to actually do with the replacement part, but have to do with building the boat back up again. That sometimes is just what happens with boat projects. We call it project creep. But the first thing you're going to do is remove the old part. The second thing you're going to do is clean up the surrounding area. You are going to clean up and clean out all of the old sealant that was there. You're going to remove any grease. You may wind up having to remove any paint that is stuck underneath, because you want the new part to go in beautifully and smoothly and cleanly. There are times when you've got a new part and the fastener holes don't line up exactly the way the other ones do. So part of your cleanup and prepping the actual space might well be filling those old fastener holes with epoxy, thickened epoxy, and making sure they are clean and dry and filled, because you're actually going to have to drill out something new to put in new fasteners. The third thing you're going to do is you're going to dry fit the new part. This is actually a critical step that is pretty easy to forget, because you look and you say, oh, great, I have the new part. It's going to fit exactly. I don't need to go through the trouble of dry fitting. Please dry fit. And when I say dry fit, what you're going to do is you're going to take the new part, you're going to fit it in the spot that you think it's supposed to go. You're going to look, you're going to check it. You may have to do fairing to make it sit flush. You may find that you need to scuff a little bit of either the new part or the place where it's going on the boat to make it fit just so. And this is also where you're going to do the new fastener holes. You're going to check, and you take a little pencil or something, or even the end of a fastener, and you stick it in there to see where you have to drill the holes. If you forget to dry fit the new part, you will often find yourself with a brand new part with a lot of sealant on it, and it actually doesn't fit in the spot that you want it to be. So this is the third part, and it's actually one of the parts that's most important, and probably a part And I keep saying the word part, but it's probably a step that is often overlooked the most. Don't overlook it. You will immediately stand out as somebody who knows what they're doing when you dry fit your new part and then you remove it. So that was step 3. Step 4, after you take it out, you've dry fit it, then you take it out. You make sure that this place is the spot where you're putting it is all nice and clean. You may want to put acetone on it to get rid of any grease or anything. You may want to also do the same on the part itself. And then you apply the sealant. And pretty much, particularly if this is a part that's going on the outside of the boat, you are going to want to seal it. You need it to be adhered well to the boat, but it also needs to seal out weather, because often if you're drilling into the deck or into the side of the hull, you actually don't want to make it easy for water to get inside of the hull. So don't leave out the sealant part. We tend to seal everything. We seal the stuff that we put on the inside of the boat as well as the outside of the boat. So that's just something that I would highly encourage you to do. When you are installing the sealant, when you're putting the sealant on the part, don't forget to put sealant on the fasteners also. So you put the sealant on the fasteners and then you fasten it in place. Step number 5 is you're going to clean up. So your 5 steps with sort of a step before the first step. First step really is you're going to order a new part or make sure you have the replacement part on hand. But the steps for real are you remove the old part, you clean up the surrounding area, you dry fit the new part, you install the new part for real, including sealant, and don't forget to put sealant on the fasteners, and then you clean up. Sounds like it should be a piece of cake. And generally, as long as you remember these steps, that's it. That's a pretty basic, also fairly comprehensive description of what you're going to do when you are replacing boat parts. Boat projects are ubiquitous. Anything that you put on the boat, if you keep the boat long enough, you're going to have to replace it. Those 5 steps will just help you keep track of everything you have to do. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast today. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make about this podcast or have ideas that you would like for us to cover on ones to come, please drop us a line and let us know how we can help you. Our whole goal is to help you understand this whole cruising lifestyle and how to make it easier for you. And if you've got questions that we're not answering yet, we'd love to change that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that in your favorite podcast app. We come out twice a week, and we're always ready to answer any questions that you have for us. Have the most spectacular day.